So we'll start with the next topic. So in the previous class I had dealt with head injury. So in this video I will be dealing with spina bifida. So what is the spina bifida? So spina bifida is a congenital neural tube defect. Okay, so spina bifida, it is usually congenital neural tube defect in which there is incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube. Okay, so in this way there is incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube during fetal development. The spina bifida is a congenital neural tube defect. Okay, this is congenital neural tube defect in which there is incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube during fetal development. So what is spina bifida? So spina bifida, it is a congenital neural tube defect. Okay, spina bifida, it is a congenital neural tube defect in which there is incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube during fetal development. So and this is what is spina bifida. It is neural tube defect in which there is incomplete closure of the vertebrae and neural tube during fetal development. Okay, during fetal development. So next is classification of the spina bifida. So it is mainly classified into spina bifida occult and spina bifida cystica. So it is classified into two, that is spina bifida occulta and spina bifida cystica. So what is the spina bifida occulta? Spina bifida occulta occurs in the vertebrae, occurs between L5 and S1. Okay, it occurs between L5 and S1 vertebrae where it fails to completely fuse. Okay, where it fails to completely fuse. So this is usually they might in this when the child is having the spina bifida occulta. Okay, when the child is having the spina bifida occulta, so they will be having no sensory or motor defects. Okay, they will not be having any sensory or motor defects. So that is usually spina bifida occulta. Spina bifida occulta. So this usually occurs between L5 and S1 where it fails to completely fuse. So in this children may have no sensory or motor defect. So that is spina bifida occulta. So next is spina bifida cystica. It is again classified into meningocele and myelomeningocele. Okay, it is again classified into meningocele and myelomeningocele. So in this meningocele, the meninges protrude through the spinal cord. Okay, the meninges protrudes through the spinal cord. So through the opening of the spinal cord, okay, it protrudes through the opening of the spinal cord where it forms a cyst. Okay, where it forms a cyst which is filled with CSF fluid. Okay, which is filled with CSF fluid. So in this meningocele, the meninges usually protrudes into the opening of the spinal cord. Okay, it is the opening of the spinal canal where it forms a cyst which is filled with CSF fluid. So next is myelomeningocele. So in case of this myelomeningocele, both spinal cord membrane, protrudes through the defect in the lamina of the vertebral column. So in this both spinal cord protrudes into the lamina of the vertebral column. Okay, so it protrudes in the lamina of the vertebral column. So that is usually about this spina bifida cystica, which is again divided into meningocele as well as myelomeningocele. In this meningocele, the meninges protrudes in the spinal canal, whereas in this myelomeningocele, both spinal cord and the meninges protrudes into the lamina of the vertebral column. Okay, lamina of the vertebral canal. So that is usually about this types of spina bifida. It is usually divided into spinal bifida occulta and spinal bifida cystica. Spinal bifida occulta, it is usually occurs where L5 and S1 will not fuse, and spinal cord cystica, meningocele and myelomeningocele. In meningocele, meninges protrudes in the spinal cord. In myelomeningocele, both spinal cord as well as meninges protrude into the lamina of the vertebrae. So next is causes of the spinal bifida. So causes, it is usually unknown. Okay, so causes, it is unknown, or it might be due to genetic predisposition. Okay, it can be due to genetic predisposition, or in case of maternal folic acid deficiency, So during this deficiency only neural tube defects usually occurs. So that is this causes, it is usually unknown, but it might be due to genetic predisposition or it might be due to maternal folic acid deficiency. So therefore during pregnancy it has been advised to the mothers that they have to have this folic acid. Okay, they have to take this folic acid supplement. So that is usually about this causes. So next is clinical symptoms. So clinical symptoms depends upon the types of the spina bifida. So first is spinal cord occulta. Okay, then the first is spinal bifida occulta. So in this usually what is happening is that most of the children with the spina bifida occulta will not have any symptoms. Okay, will not have any symptoms. So it is usually seen that they might have a dimple around the skin. Okay, they might have dimple in the skin or a growth of air. Okay, or growth of air over the damaged or malformed vertebrae. Okay, over the damaged or malformed vertebrae. So in this usually what happens, most of the patients will not have symptoms. Okay, most of the patients will not have symptoms, or they might have dimple in the skin or growth of hair at the damaged vertebrae. So that is usually there. And also the child will not be able to, like the child will be having foot weakness, bowel and bladder usually have sphincter disturbance. Okay, so that is they will be having weakness in the foot as well as bowel and bladder sphincter will be disturbed. Okay, bowel and bladder sphincter will be disturbed. So that is usually symptom that is usually seen in case of spina bifida occulta. First, they will not be having any symptoms. If they have also, they will be having like growth of hair as well as dimple in the skin of the damaged vertebrae. Next, they will be having sphincter disturbances as well as weakness in the foot. So next is usually about this. So next is usually like in case of meningocele. Okay, in case of meningocele, mainly it is seen that an external cystic defect will be seen. Okay, an external cystic defect will be seen. So that is usually the external cystic defect will be seen. So that is usually the sac will be composed only of meninges. Okay, the sac which is there will be composed of only meninges. That is CSF fluid will be filled. I have told you that in this meningocele CSF fluid will be filled where cystic formation will be formed and then CSF fluid will be seized. So that is usually upon due to this what happen, they will be having weakness in the legs as well as lack of sphincter control. They will be having weakness in the leg as well as lack of sphincter control. So that is usually there. Then in case of meningomyocele, okay, in case of meningomyocele, clinical problems usually includes is that they will be having loss of motor control. Okay, they will be having loss of motor control. That is usually there. Then club foot can be developed. Okay, club foot can be developed. Bladder dysfunction will be there. Okay, bladder dysfunction will be there as well as fetal incontinence and constipation. In case of myelomeningocele, so normally they will be having like loss of motor control. Club feet will develop, bladder incontinence as well, fetal incontinence will be there as well as constipation will be there. Okay, so this is usually the clinical symptoms that is usually seen in case of spina bifida occulta. So it is usually different for different types. Like spina bifida occulta, no symptoms will be there, but later on they can say dimple in the skin or hair will be grown around the damaged vertebrae, and also they will be having feet weakness as well as loss of sphincter control. In this also same thing, this cyst will be, there will be formation of cyst which will be filled with CSF fluid only. Due to this what happened, there will be loss of weakness in the feet as well as balance control, that is sphincter control loss of sphincter control will be there. In case of myelomeningocele, constipation develops, fetal incontinence will be, bladder dysfunction will be the loss of motor control as well as club feet will be present. So that is usually about the symptoms of spina bifida. So next is diagnosis. So diagnostics, mainly we have to check the alpha fetoprotein levels has to be checked. Okay, alpha fetoprotein levels has to be checked in the blood at 16 to 18 weeks. So in this mainly diagnosis we go with checking alpha fetoprotein levels in the blood has to be checked between 16 to 18 weeks. So that has to be checked. So that is usually about this thing. Next diagnosis, it is usually done based on clinical symptoms. CT scan and MRI scan is done. Okay, CT scan and MRI scan is usually done. So it is a diagnosis we have to go with checking alpha protein level of during 16 to 18 weeks of the gestation. Okay, alpha protein levels during 16 to 18 weeks of gestation should be done. So this is usually seen abnormal. Okay, if there is spina bifida, it is usually seen abnormal. Okay, there is level is usually seen abnormal. Then the diagnosis is made on the clinical symptoms. CT scan and MRI scan has to be done. So that is diagnostic test that has to be done. So next is management of spina bifida. So what are the management that we go? So normally there is no cure for this spinal bifida. Okay, normally there is no cure for this spina bifida. So normally we go with physiotherapy. Okay, normally we go with physiotherapy or we go with surgery. Okay, or we go with surgery. So surgery, it is mainly to reduce the infection. Okay, to reduce the risk of infection due to the CSF fluid or cyst formation is there. So due to that usually what happen, like we go with doing surgery to reduce the infection. So normally, so that is usually done. Then we have to go with, we use mobility aids will be used. Okay, mobility aids will be used like walking aids or wheelchair are commonly used. Okay, walking aids or wheelchair are commonly used. Then diet and enema is usually done mainly to manage fecal incontinence. Okay, diet and enema, it is mainly to manage fecal incontinence. Then regular monitoring of kidney, bladder, everything should be done. Regular monitoring of the kidney, bladder and spine functions has to be done. So then we go with shunt insertion. Okay, then we go with shunt insertion. So in case of the shunt insertion, so this is mainly done in case of there is hydrocephalus. Okay, the baby's like if there is hydrocephalus, so that is usually treated with this shunt insertion. Okay, if this baby is having spina bifida along with hydrocephalus, then we go with this shunt insertion. Okay, then we go with shunt insertion. So that is where we will be draining out the excessive CSF fluid. Okay, where we will drain out the excessive CSF fluid. Okay, in this hydrocephalus I've already taught you this. So shunt insertion will be done. So in case of this shunt insertion, it is mainly done where we'll be inserting a tube called shunt. Okay, in this mainly we'll be inserting a tube called shunt where into the ventricles. Okay, it will be inserted into the ventricles in the brain, and where CSF fluid will be drained out. Okay, CSF fluid will be drained out. So that is usually about this management of spina bifida. So there is no cure. Mainly we go with physiotherapy or we go with surgery. So surgery is mainly done to reduce the risk of infection. So here mainly we go with shunt insertion. Mainly it is done in case of hydrocephalus, which I have told you. So that is mainly we will be attaching a tube, inserting a tube which is called a shunt between the ventricles of the brain and the spinal cord. So this is done mainly to remove the excess CSF fluid. Then we go with walking aids will be given, like wheelchair and walking aids will be given. Then we go with like diet and enema will be checked. This mainly to reduce fetal incontinence. Then bladder incontinence, like so that is usually what happens. Catheterization will be done. So that is usually done. Then we go with monitoring, regular monitoring of the kidney as well as bladder, shunt as well as spine functions will be assessed. So this is usually about this management of spina bifida. So what is spina bifida? Spina bifida is nothing but neural tube defects where the vertebra as well as the neural tube fails to fuse or fails to close. Okay, where it usually there is incomplete closure of this vertebra and neural tube during fetal development. So it is usually classified into spina bifida occulta and spinal bifida cystica. Spina bifida cystica is again classified into meningocele and myelomeningocele. Symptoms, it is usually seen that they will be having mainly like loss of bladder control or sphincter control as well as fetal weakness, feet weakness. Okay, so loss of weakness in the feet. Then fetal incontinence will be there. Okay, fecal incontinence will be there. So that is usually there in case of this constipation develop. So that is usually about the symptoms that is usually seen in case of spina bifida. Management, there is no management like this. We will go with like physiotherapy or surgical management will be like placing shunt. Okay, placing shunt where it removes the excessive CSF fluid. Mobility aids will be given. Then enema will be done for removing reducing fecal incontinence. And regular monitoring of the kidney spine functions will be regularly monitored. So this is usually about the spina bifida. So mainly it is neural tube defect where there is incomplete closure of the vertebra and neural tube.